From Wana Brands, welcome to Enhance Your Life. I'm your host, Jonathan Small, and each week I talk to people from all sorts of professions and backgrounds about how cannabis has enhanced their lives and how this healing plant can enrich your life too. Hey everybody, welcome to the Enhance Your Life podcast. I am your host, John Small. It is so great for you to join us today. And you might not be aware of this. I certainly wasn't. But May is Masturbation Month. Yes, I said that with a straight face, but it's true. May is Masturbation Month. And this seemed like the perfect time for us to speak with our guest, Katie Enright, who is the founder of oh.hi by Lavinia, which is a THC-packed silicone lubricant that seemingly does the impossible. It makes orgasms for women, not men in this case, but for women, easier to obtain and even better. And why is this important? Well, apparently studies show that 10 to 40% of women experience difficulty in climaxing, and nearly 15% of women have never had an orgasm at all. So Katie will explain how oh.hi by Lavinia helps women actually double their orgasms as opposed to water-based lubricants. So Katie, I hope I got all that right. That was a lot, but it's fascinating stuff, and I'm so happy that you're here and joining us.
Hello. Wow. That is quite an introduction. Thank you very much. I'm super happy to be here as well.
So I would love just background story here. How did you come up with this idea? How did you decide to get into the cannabis business? I'm sure most people who are in the cannabis business were doing something before they got into the cannabis business. So tell us a little bit about your life before and what got you into creating oh.hi.
Yes. So actually, my entrance into cannabis is a lot different than most people's. I actually was studying theology and almost became a nun. So I thought that I was going to embrace a life of celibacy and obedience and a whole host of other things, which is not normally what people say when they enter the cannabis industry.
Or the sex lubricant industry. So let's
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But basically, I was training for a marathon. I decided not to become a nun. And I was training for a marathon, and I started to incorporate cannabis in my recovery. And just like anything, when you start to introduce anything new, you should do a ton of research. And so I was researching cannabis heavily, and I realized you could use it as a sexually enhancing experience. And I didn't quite believe it at first because I was like, what's happening? But I was making bombs just in my kitchen for myself for recovering from all of the strenuous running. I mean, when you're training for a marathon, you're training like an hour and a half per day is typically how long you're working out. So your body is just shot by the end of the week, you know? So I started making it just for myself in my kitchen, and I tried it one time as a lubricant, and I was like, holy cow, this is amazing. I want more.
Right.
So I literally went to dispensaries trying to purchase this product, but all of the products currently during that time were all coconut oil based. And coconut oil has all of the buzzwords. It's vegan, it's organic, it's all the, shiny, but it's not a great lubricant. It actually can cause yeast infections. So I started making silicone based lube for me just in my kitchen, just for myself. Not thinking anything of it, just because I wanted this product.
That's what everybody does. They go into their kitchen and make silicone-based lube. Of course you did that. That's amazing. I mean, you must have some sort of entrepreneurial, that's kind of interesting that you would go to those extremes to do that.
Yeah, it's really interesting because I studied theology and was going to become a nun. When I entered the world of sexuality, I really had no idea what to do. I was really lost. I was confused.
Did you come from a pretty traditional background? Like where are you from?
Yeah, Irish Catholic, Chicago.
Okay.
Really solid family, really awesome upbringing. Really wanted to become a nun because I really wanted to do great things in the world.
Yep.
I still am.
Yeah, just a different way.
Doing God's work, just in a different way. So I know it's not the traditional path, I guess, making lube in your kitchen for yourself.
But it was working for you.
Yeah, exactly. And then I was actually bartending at the time, and a guy came in and was like, hey, are you the weed lube girl? Because I was giving it to customers, just friends, just like as an act of love, like you have a great orgasm, you have a great orgasm, you have a great orgasm. And then when a stranger came up to me and approached me about it, was like, I'll pay you for it. I was like, this is a company. This is no longer just something I need to be making in my kitchen for fun.
That is so interesting. So I'm sure that you've now figured out, or you've talked to scientists about what the science is behind having THC instead of coconut oil in this case as your lubricant. Like what is happening that makes it so effective?
Oh, so vasodilation is happening. So basically, you know, when you smoke weed and your eyes turn red,
Mm-hmm.
your blood vessels are literally increasing in size,
Okay.
which is also increasing the blood flow. And the same thing happens below the bouts. And with that increased blood flow, that's how men get erections, and that's how women have really strong, really intense orgasms.
So it just increases the blood flow to those regions. Now,
Exactly.
but I mentioned that this is a product that's more effective maybe for women than men. Am I right in saying that? And why is that so?
Correct. So men can use it anally and have the enhanced cannabis effect. It is absorbed anally, but transdermally, it's not absorbed, meaning that it doesn't absorb through skin and penis's skin. So for men, typically it won't, and men question, you know, will it make me go hard? Will it make me go soft? Like, what does it do to my erection? There really isn't any effect. It's a silicone-based lubricant. We use dimethicone, which is an FDA-approved silicone. So it's just a really silky, really amazing feeling lubricant. So that's kind of their experience, is they experience the lubricant aspect of it. But 9 times out of 10, I want to say like 9.98 times out of 10, men have also said that they have a heightened experience.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that heightened experience is a direct result to the woman having such a
right. Because men just like to see the women, the women turned on makes them turn on. Right. That makes sense logically. So it works on women in this magical way. Can it get you high? I know that people get word. That's the first question everybody ever asks when you give them a THC product. Does it get you high?
So if you go down on somebody that is wearing it sublingually, it will get you a little bit high.
Interesting.
But if you just apply it vaginally or on your vulva, it doesn't get you high. What it does is it increases the blood flow, and it kind of just makes everything more plump and ready for a sexual encounter. There is an onset time of 15 minutes to a half hour that's really important to be aware of, because it really needs that 15 minutes to a half hour to increase the blood flow.
Interesting. So note this: it's almost like an edible. Like you have to wait for it to take effect. It doesn't happen right away.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So take me through the process of doing this in your kitchen and then handing out, becoming known as the lube lady at the bar, and then starting this company.
So the name of the company is Lavinia, and the product is oh.hi. So really interesting. I decided when the lube lady question happened, the next day I was like, I really think this is a company. I really believe in this product. I'm really proud of it. But I don't know the potency. I kind of am just futzing around, right? I'm doing it not in a scientific way. So I decided to hire a PhD chemist. And we worked together for about 1.5 years in R&D. We did 25 different formulations before we found the most orgasmic mix of THC and CBD. It's like so amazing. And then from there, I also wanted like a PhD doctor to be able to describe what actually happens in the body and why it happens, and the endocannabinoid system and the receptors and how it all works. So we hired Dr. Christina Collins, and she's our medical expert. And from there, it kind of just all of the dominoes fell into place. It kind of was really easy, knock on wood. And it's never easy starting a company. There's, 10 things that happen every day that blow up everything. But from there, it was just there. I feel like there was such a need for the product because I didn't really want to start this company. I just wanted to be a consumer, but there wasn't anything in this space that I liked. So I decided to create it.
That's always the best philosophy behind a company. If you can't find what you're looking for, then create it yourself.
Yeah, solve a problem, right?
Exactly. So on the press release I read, there was tests with a lioness vibrator. So did you guys perform tests, or is this something where you actually test it out? Because what you're saying that it really helps increase orgasms, increase the pleasure of orgasms. Have you done any testing on it aside from anecdotally?
Yes, and that was actually really helpful. So when we did the R&D and the 25 different formulations, we did everything. We did a spectrum of only THC, no CBD, high THC, low CBD, high CBD. I mean, everything you could possibly imagine. And so the lioness was really key for us finding success for our formula, because the lioness is a vibrator that has sensors on the side that records the pulsing of the vaginal walls during a sexual experience. So you actually have data based on orgasms, and you can tell which orgasm was stronger than the other. I'm showing you a chart right now.
You're showing me a chart, right? But so So there's a red lines and then green lines. The reds are much higher than the greens. So what is that? What are you showing me here?
So this is an unmedicated lubricant. This is just a water-based lube.
Okay.
And then this is with our oh.hi cannabis lubricant.
Okay, so the basically what the chart is showing is that it was much stronger.
Much stronger.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's really interesting. So you were really able to get results, at least be able to determine that it really worked.
What's great about the lioness is you're actually able to compare graphs too. So we're actually in R&D on some anal sex products. So we're able to use that for anal sex as well and get data and get graphs and get a scientific base as to why it works.
Do you think there'll ever be an invention that will maybe work for guys? Almost like a sort of Viagra of, instead of them taking Viagra, say, maybe they put a cannabis type oil on their private parts and it does the trick. See how I said that in a G-rated way? I'm Mr. G. In their private parts.
So we are in R&D on gummies and before and after sex pre-rolls that will have just that effect for men. And if men are open to anal play, we have products that will be very exciting to them.
Yeah, no, it seems like you're on top of that, so to speak. Sorry. Well, talk about your own personal use of cannabis. I mean, I know you had studied to be a nun. You came from a fairly conservative family. Did the idea of cannabis growing up, probably was not something that was on your radar particularly, or am I wrong?
It's really funny. In middle school, I remember wanting to sell cannabis.
Really?
And wanting to, yes. And it was very, very illegal and kind of wrestling with that because I really love my family and my family is super conservative and my mom would just be so disappointed if I got caught selling weed,
Yeah.
Which we all called it weed back then and marijuana. It wasn't even cannabis yet. So I kind of have always felt really drawn to cannabis. And the more research I do, the more I have a love affair with it. Just the healing benefits of it, how everything about it is really attractive to me. Because I've always I've come from an athletic background, I typically don't smoke just because I cough a lot and then that's really embarrassing. So I typically consume edibles or tinctures, or I use a lot of balms too for rehabilitation of
for pain.
Pain.
Do you use it for sleep? And
I don't have sleep issues.
Right.
So I don't.
Nice.
My head hits the pillow and I'm out.
It's probably all those Lavinia inspired orgasm.
It's the hard day's work for me, so I'm tired at the end of the day.
Yeah, talk about the R&D for your product. I mean, how does that work?
It's so funny is that I do have investors that I'm very close with. And it's really funny because I'm showing the lioness and the comparison charts and saying what formula I think we should go with. And it shows the time on there. And one was 12:30 p.m. And then the other one was 2:30 p.m. And they're like, what are you doing? Yeah. And
what kind of job do you have, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's very
It could
funny.
be a worse job. Well, so you're doing this full time, right? Because you came to California to be an actor.
I did.
Initially? Yeah. So you live in California now, this is kind of taken all your time.
Yeah, basically, I still act a little bit. I have a commercial agent and I had a theatrical agent, but he was closed down for embezzling from his clients. So I'm currently without a theatrical agent.
Oh, my goodness. That is a classic Hollywood story, but I'm so sorry to hear that. That's the worst.
Yeah, thanks.
So as an actor, are you considering maybe kind of being more of a spokesperson for your product, being the face of your product?
Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
Okay. So that's cool. How do you do that in an industry that's so restricted, advertising wise? Can you go on Instagram and not only is it hard, you're tackling two topics that are very taboo at least on social media, right? Like sex and cannabis are two things that get flagged a lot.
Yes, it is so difficult and so frustrating because it really is. We can have testimonials so people can post hey, I tried this product. I loved it. We can't do a call to action. So we can't direct them to a dispensary where they can buy the product. It's very, very difficult because the only time we have to guarantee that 71% of our audience is over the age of 21. So it's kind of like, unfortunately, like porn sites are the only place that you can really guarantee that they're over 21. So it's a little bit challenging in that way, especially because people don't typically go to dispensaries to buy lubricant. People
Right.
don't even really know that it's there. People go to buy cannabis, right? So it's about educating people that this product is there. And people typically go to like a sex shop or CVS or Target to buy lubricant, right? So it's kind of trying to find a way to marry, hey, we're here, we're better than traditional lube, and this is because it has cannabis, but you can only buy it in dispensaries because it has cannabis. So it's kind of a catch-22.
So how do you find it now? Like, how would one find oh.hi?
In dispensaries.
Okay.
So we're only sold in dispensaries in the state of California currently.
So does it work the same way with a lubricant as it might be like any cannabis product where you have to sell it where you grow it kind of thing?
You have to sell it where you manufacture it.
Yeah, where you
and
manufacture it.
Yeah, and it cannot cross state lines. So, for example, if we wanted to expand to a different state, we would have to come up with a manufacturing facility in that state, adhere to that state's guidelines, which include like packaging guidelines. California, you have to have child-resistant packaging. You have to have a Prop 65 warning. You have to have a government warning. You have to adhere to all of these guidelines. And so that's the really cumbersome thing about cannabis, is to really grow and expand. It's very, very difficult and very expensive as well, because our product goes through 3 phases of testing before it's actually available in dispensaries.
Right. Very stringent testing.
Yeah.
Do you have any other recommendations for utilizing cannabis in the bedroom? I mean, obviously your product is good for what it does. Is there any other suggestions you make?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on your relationship with cannabis and how sensitive you are and like what your personal method of consumption is. I always find with gummies, and that's also something that we're in R&D with, is sex gummies, which it's going to give you like a body high, and just, I always joke that it just lights up my vulva. Like there's different kinds of highs that you can get from different strains of cannabis. And so it really is dependent upon you. If you like to smoke, if you like to have gummies. We're currently doing a ton of research into like terpene profiles and what terpenes enhance the bedroom the most.
You had mentioned that, and this is not an infomercial for Wana. I mean, I did. You had mentioned that you're familiar with Wana products. Is that a product that you have used and like?
Love it. Yeah, absolutely.
Terrific. Well, because I was going to say we got to get you some Wana. Maybe we'll see if that lights you up.
I'm ready.
Yeah, you're ready. Well, this is so interesting. How long has the product been available? oh.hi been available?
So September.
And how have sales been so far?
Good. We're in 95 dispensaries.
Wow.
Across the state of California. It's pretty exciting.
And how do you get people in the dispensaries to even notice that you're there? Like, is there store activation? Because, like you said, people walk into dispensaries and they're usually looking for something else. They're not looking for a lube.
Yeah, exactly. Having brand ambassadors that are talking about our product, it's very interesting because, as you mentioned before, it is 2 really taboo issues. So people that go into dispensaries most of the time are very comfortable with cannabis, but it's been really interesting to see people's comfortability with sex and talking to people about sex, because a lot of times when we do what's called PAD, it's a patient appreciation day, we'll do like a promo. So it's like you buy one, you get one for a penny. Type of deal, or spend this much in the store and you get one for a penny. You have to do the penny because you technically can't give away cannabis for free. That's illegal. But it's been so interesting seeing people's comfortability level, and some people that I think would be super comfortable talking about sex and super down with having like a really honest conversation about what happens and all of that are so uncomfortable. Wow. And so it's kind of fun because I think the way that we're approaching it and our in-store presence is hopefully breaking down some barriers and allowing people to have really honest conversations about sex.
It's interesting. 2 stigmas you have to get through. Both
cannabis, 2.
That's a lot of stigmas for one product.
Thankfully, like I said, the cannabis stigma is already gone. Although it's very funny. I was just in a dispensary the other day and a woman says, "Oh, I don't normally shop in these places."
Yeah.
And she was with her husband, and her husband's like, all right, keep it down. This is a dispensary. Everyone here is here for the same thing.
Right. It's not like people like judging you at a dispensary, or I hope they're not.
Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
Katie, this has been so interesting. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us about oh.hi by Lavinia. And hopefully we'll bring you back when your next iteration of your products come. You can talk to us about that.
All about anal sex.
Yeah, that'll be a subject that I will talk to you about, I guess. I don't know. Can't say I'm excited about it, but I will talk to you about it because it's, of interest to our listeners. All for the listeners.
Yeah. Thank
all right.
you.
Katie, thanks again.
Thank you for having me.
Enhance Your Life is brought to you by Wana, the #1 infused product in North America. Wana's entire process is designed to deliver the same great experience time after time. They have spent years fine-tuning their recipes so that their products are delicious, consistent, and potent. For more information, head on over to wanabrands.com. That's Wana, W-A-N-A, brands.com.